butt.
What's up, guys? So here with the big butt.
That is your very bad jokes.
It's a bad joke.
Yeah.
It's not funny.
No.
So I edit it out.
For a believer that you are.
But it's a big butt.
Why so serious?
Do you think my butt is bigger than yours?
Babe,
Or you have a bigger butt than mine?
you're contradicting your walk of faith.
What if we combine our butts?
Kwenda. Cheza play.
Yeah. So guys, welcome back to this video. So here is where we discuss the butt to the what do I call it? To the
Big butt.
to the babe, I thought I was compromising.
You are compromising.
Umeingia peer pressure.
No, stop the hair continue.
It's catchy. But it's catchy to say big butt.
No, it's not.
Let's admit it.
No.
Anyway, guys, so welcome. So this is a continuation to the butt that we had highlighted in our previous video. That was point number 10.
Yeah.
And this was the issue of cohabitation effect. So we'll put the links in the description just for you to get some of the things we are reading here. So here's the thing. People who cohabit are less likely to divorce when they get married. People who get married without cohabiting are more likely to divorce. But they found out that this is true within the first year of marriage.
Yes.
In other words, people who are cohabiting and then they decided to get married, within the first year, their chances of divorce was really low.
Yeah.
Because they were already used to each other, they're already used to living with each
together.
other. People who had not cohabited before and they just jumped right into marriage, the chances of divorce are very high within the first year because of the shock of adjustment.
Yes.
They are not living together, now they're in each other's faces and they have to figure out how do we do this.
Yeah.
All right. But they discovered that after the first year, people who cohabited before, their chances of separation or divorce goes high.
True.
Those who did not cohabit, after the first year where there was so much shock and friction, after the first year, their chances of divorce
very low
becomes low.
Oops, sorry. Yes.
So that's what the science says. Other things that we might just want to point out. Now, they've been doing this research for decades after decades. Sometimes they say this, sometimes they say the opposite. Now, at some point they said, no, that's actually not true. The people who cohabit and then get married, whose chances for divorce are higher, are people who cohabited at an earlier age. So they are saying cohabiting at an earlier age was the risk, it was the danger. But those who do it at a later age, then it's just as good as getting married. But then they came to discover that that was actually not accurate because they were looking at the short term, and that's where the 1 year gap came in.
Yes.
So those who are looking at the short term, it looked like there was no difference. But after studying and following up these couples for years and decades, they realized that, wait a minute, there's something we are seeing here. Guys who actually got married without cohabiting have a higher success rate
in marriage
than those who cohabited and then they chose
to get
married. Mm-hmm. Now, like I said again, this is the science, this is the data. The science does not explain why, it just shows you what it is.
Yes.
Now we'll explain to you the why. We'll give you our own opinion once we tell you what the data is saying. All right? So the other thing is that those who get married after cohabitation, they have a higher chances, they have higher struggles in marriage. Now every marriage has its own struggles. Every normal marriage, even the best ones, they are just those challenges that everybody deals with. But the challenges and the struggles appear to be higher among couples who cohabited and then got married later on. Now I know at this point you're thinking, wait, Curtis, I know couples who've cohabited and then they got married and their marriage seems to be fine.
Yeah.
In fact, I know couples who they never even got married. They've just been cohabiting for years and decades. Their kids are even grown-ups now and they seem to be okay. We'll talk about that. Because even me, as I was looking at this research, I was like, wait a minute.
There is and this.
I know people who, I know people personally.
Yeah.
Who they've had kids, the kids are even way older now and their marriage seems to be okay. People look up to them. They never got married. So what happened? Could there be something that intervened
in between?
All right, in between the process of cohabiting and marriage, could there be something that happened that changed their fate? All right, so we'll discuss about that. Back to the science. All right, the science also shows that cohabiting makes it harder to break up, even when the relationship is already at risk. For example, if Soila and I are just dating, we're just having a relationship, and we are not getting along, things are not doing well, it's easy for us to break up. But if we are cohabiting, it will be harder
To break up.
for us to break up, even if the relationship is at risk.
Yeah, that's why people, you're not married, but you can easily go back to your mom's house and then still come back to the same guy,
Yeah.
and vice versa.
So if we decide to get married, yet the relationship was at risk, now that risk follows into the marriage.
That's what breaks the marriage.
And that's what breaks the marriage. All right? Cohabiting showed an increased positive attitude towards marriage, but this was mostly in women more than men. In other words, when you and me decide to cohabit, for women, they discover that it developed a positive perspective of marriage, cohabitation.
Yes, I think because of
But to the women,
yes, because I think
to
it's-
the men,
yeah.
not so much.
Okay.
But a positive attitude did not necessarily translate to a positive outcome
in marriage.
once they got married.
True.
All right? Women who are in
counterparts.
cohabiting relationships, or women who got married after cohabiting, experienced more violence, more gender-based violence, as compared to their married counterparts. In other words, those who got married without living together, there's less gender-based violence in those kind of relationships as compared to those who cohabited and then got married, who experienced higher violence.
Very interesting.
All right? Those who are cohabiting, or those who got married after cohabiting, showed twice as much risk for infidelity as opposed to their married counterparts who never lived together
Yes.
before. So these are just some of the things that the data has shown, and these are studies they've done for decades, because they assumed that the reason cohabitation has so much negative effects is because there's a lot of stigma. This was back in the 90s. So they were predicting that as the society continues on and it becomes more acceptable, there'll be less consequences of cohabitation. But the research I'm reading you from is from 2021. 2021, 2018, 2015. They've been doing this research from time to time.
Yeah.
They are discovering that cohabitation being more popularized or being more accepted by society does not reduce the implications and the effects that it carries.
Yes.
This is just the data that is out there. This is not us making it up.
Yeah.
In fact, we were actually shocked because we thought, you mean there are studies that could
Talk about cohabitation.
could show the
science,
effects of this? You know?
Yeah.
The other thing, and this is interesting, they discover that even when it comes to wealth, and this is funny because people who cohabit, they move in together with the intention of saving money.
Yes.
Let's move in together. There's no point of our wedding and all that. Let's move in together. We'll save much more money and all that. And for me, I really don't care how you do the wedding. Whether your wedding costs 100 bob or 1 million, that's irrelevant. It's what you do in the marriage that matters.
Yes.
But I digress. That's not the point here. So they discover that married couples who got married without living together, they have a higher capacity of accruing wealth as compared to those who are cohabiting or those who cohabited before marriage.
Yes.
The studies are astounding.
Yeah. So
now,
the ones who cohabited are not, they have less capacity. No, is it capacity really?
I'll just put the study, but the way the study was saying is that they accrue less wealth.
Okay.
They accrue less wealth.
All right.
For those of you who listen to Dave Ramsey, he talks a lot about finances.
Yes.
And how to accrue wealth. He was also quoting the same study.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really interesting article this week in The Federalist. Federalist.com, thefederalist.com, if you want to look up the article. The article says, the research proves the number one social justice imperative is marriage. I don't have time to go through the whole article, but this is just really intriguing research. It says just 70 years ago, social mobility and protection from poverty were largely a factor of employment. Those who had full-time work of any kind were seldom poor. 50 years ago, Education marked the gulf separating the haves and the have-nots. For the last 20 years or more, though, marital status has increasingly become the central factor in whether our neighbors and their children rise above, remain, or descend into poverty. The research is astounding. A recent report on this topic, focusing on millennials, reports that 97% of those who follow the success sequence, earn at least a high school diploma, work, and marry before having children, will not be poor as they enter their 30s. This is largely true for ethnic minorities and those who grew up in poor families. But sadly, fewer millennials are keeping these things in order compared to their boomer and Xer forebearers. By the way, if you don't know the statistics, sidebar, more people now live together that are not married than live together who are married. The consistent and irrefutable mountain of research has shown, reaching back to the 1970s and beyond, that marriage strongly boosts every important measure of well-being for children, women, and men. Pick any measure you can imagine. Overall physical and mental health, income, savings, employment, educational success, general life contentment, happiness, sexual satisfaction, even recovery from serious disease, healthy diet and exercise. Married people rate markedly and consistently better in each of these, and so many more compared to their single, divorced, and cohabitating peers. Thus, marriage is an essential active ingredient in improving one's overall life prospects, regardless of class, race, or educational status. That is why it's not merely one-parent versus two-parent families that make the difference. The U.S. Census Bureau finds that the poverty rate for children living in poverty with two unmarried cohabitating parents is similar to that of single mother homes, rather than those that were married mother and father. Married people, regardless of how much they have, tend to manage their money differently than divorced, single, and cohabitating people.
So it's interesting. It's interesting, and this is why we bring our opinion.
Yes.
This is why we bring our opinion. I think our opinion, we are not experts in the field, but we've done some homework here and there. And even with our own observation, I think there are issues that make the cohabiting relationship the way it is. All right. One of the things that they pointed out in the study regarding wealth is that they said people who are cohabiting, there's an issue of commitment that is not 100%.
Of course.
So you are cohabiting, you are living with this person, but my money is my money.
Yes.
And her money is her money.
And it gives you room to go away without the consequences of breaking a vow.
Yes. There's that leeway of, at the end of the day,
I'm not committed.
We were never
to you.
really, in that kind of deep commitment.
Yes.
So they're actually saying that the reason why cohabiting relationships don't accrue as much wealth as married relationships is because in cohabiting relationships, there's still individual pursuits and there's still the individual desires. Now, here's the thing. We are not trying to say that if you're married, just the point we said in the other video, we're not trying to say that if you're married without cohabiting, then things will automatically work for you. Good. If you're also operating on principles that are not proper, you will just fail and divorce just as the others.
Yes.
But here's the thing. I tend to believe that those who have been cohabiting or who got married after cohabiting, it is not all doom and gloom.
Yes. Again, yes.
I think that there can be an intervention where you decide that, okay, this is how far we have been able to come. Probably we can switch things up.
Yes.
And do things from a
The
different
right
perspective.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
The other challenge that I think cohabiting relationships suffer is because most of them don't go through premarital classes.
Yes.
They just move in and they start figuring things out on their own. Those who get married, I think the benefit that they have, for some of them,
is the
premarital classes that they do. Assuming you went to a proper one.
Tends to equip you
some
for some of the challenges you will face in marriage. Yeah.
So I think the premarital classes is an advantage for those who get married. The other thing that I think is marriage addresses every aspect of who you are.
Yeah.
All right? Marriage addresses your psychological state.
Yeah.
Marriage addresses your social state. marriage addresses your physical state, and marriage addresses your spiritual state.
Yeah.
Now, the thing with these principles is that you cannot fake them.
True.
You cannot psychologically fake that you're married when you're not.
Yeah.
All right? It's either you're in
Or you're not.
or you are not.
Yes.
Remani?
Songa aya kujukai. Move.
So this guy has bombed
Sit
our...
here.
No, mlete tu hapa.
With
With his flu.
He has such a terrible flu. Oopsies.
Remani,
Showed your tummy.
tell these people about marriage.
Say marriage is good.
Do you think marriage is good?
Marriage good.
Good job.
Tell them, is marriage good? Tell them that.
Tell the
one.
camera.
Is marriage good?
My good.
Say marriage
good?
good.
Good.
It's
What?
good, eh?
What is good?
Good.
Say marriage is good.
My good.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
It's good, eh?
Good.
Yeah, so also there are things to consider. Where are people coming from?
Yeah.
Because if you look at probably some of our traditional cultures, and this is interesting because even when you look at the Bible, there's a place where we are told how Isaac married Rebecca. Was it Isaac? It's Isaac after the death of his mom. We are shown that Rebecca came, they met with Isaac.
Mommy.
Yeah.
Papi.
Remani, can we have this thing? Can we have this video? Can we finish?
Let's finish the video and then we talk, okay? You're hot, my friend.
Yeah. So they said that Rebecca and Isaac got into a tent and they became husband and wife.
Yeah, they knew
Which
each
was
other.
very interesting. It was not the entire halabaloo. Remani, go outside.
Ash.
Then keep quiet. Okay? I even lost my trail of thought.
It's not about it's the hula baloo of wedding.
Yeah. It's not the hula baloo of doing the greatest wedding that is out there.
Yeah.
It's about the principles.
Yes.
All right? Which means that even in our own cultural and traditional backgrounds,
Yeah.
there are certain principles that showed and governed
Yes.
that you're married.
Yeah.
All right? So for me, I think at the end of the day is what principles are operating in this thing you are calling a marriage. What principles are there?
What spirit is overseeing your wedding, marriage?
Right? Yeah, now from a spiritual perspective,
Yeah.
there's also that. Psychologically speaking, and you'll see this even when you study psychology, there's something that happens to you psychologically when you get married, as opposed to when you are not getting married.
Yeah.
That's why we call it living and cleaving.
Yes.
It is a process that configures your mind to start thinking a certain way. That's why for me, I'm very jittery when I hear a couple saying that we are together and everything, but my money is my money,
Yeah.
and your money is your money.
Uh-huh.
Then it means you are not one. And oneness is one of the principles of marriage.
Yes.
So you guys are not married. You are married on paper, but according
Yes.
to the principle,
No.
something is off.
There are
Right?
individuals.
Socially speaking, even the government recognizes that there's a difference between a married couple and an individual.
Yeah.
You'll be taxed differently. There are certain accesses that you'll have differently,
Yeah.
you know. Spiritually speaking also, there's the oneness aspect.
Yeah.
So I think the reason cohabiting relationships tend to suffer is because you're trying to imitate something that you are not quite fully in.
With wanting the benefits of being quite fully in.
Yes. So, and that's just our opinion.
Yeah.
But I think there is so much more we can
indulge and
see
talk
about this. Would like to hear your
Yeah,
perspective.
what do you guys think?
All right, especially putting in mind with the science.
Yes.
All right, like we said, as we are just giving an opinion, but the science tells you the what.
Yep.
The opinions tells you the why, and our opinion might be biased because as we are married, so
Yeah.
probably we are trying to advocate for something we have
that
gone
you
through.
yes.
But probably would like to hear your also different perspectives. But for me, I just find it interesting that there has been tons and tons of data and research and studies that show that the marriage situation, the marriage setup, is the best social setup out of all the marriage alternatives
That is there.
that are there.
Welele.
Once again, this is not okay. This is not a judgment video. If you are cohabiting at the moment, if you are living together at the moment, we are not trying to say that you'll divorce
you'll fail.
and you'll have gender-based violence and you'll suffer all those things. We are just quoting you what the studies are
Saying
showing.
yes.
But I believe you had your reasons as to why you
You took
came
it.
into that arrangement.
Uh-huh.
So we are not telling you what to do.
Yeah.
Remani, can I finish? Thank you. We are not telling you what to do. We were not there when you guys were making that decision.
Yes.
But with this information, let's have a conversation going.
Yes.
Let's have
yes.
the conversation.
Also have
going.
the conversation going within amongst yourselves.
Yeah. I'm thinking of, I don't know if you can invite someone who has more information on this.
It won't. There's no harm in doing that.
Probably someone who's done a lot of
You guys can
premarital
also
counseling.
recommend.
Someone who has officiated a lot of weddings, probably a bishop.
Yeah.
And even a marital therapist.
A marital therapist. Yes.
So if you know any who would be willing to come and have
Yeah.
this conversation with us,
We'll bring Ernest.
yeah, that's one of the options that we have on the table.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, let's know what you think in the comments. Like, comment, share, subscribe. We are very active nowadays on Instagram, so go follow Soila and Curtis.
Yeah.
And let's keep the conversation going.
Say bye.
Say bye.
Bye.
Say subscribe.
Bye.
Say
Say
bye,
subscri-
people.
Bye, people.
Say you are awesome, guys.
Awesome, guys.
Say
Okay.
subscribe.
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 Yeah.
Say like,
Like.
comment.
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 Share.
Share.
See you tomorrow.
Some more.
See you guys.
See you guys.